All right, Raiders Chargers preview. This is part 2 now. So if you missed the first part, I previewed the Raiders offense, how they should attack the Chargers defense. Now I'm doing the other side. Chargers offense, how are they going to attack the Raiders defense? What can the Raiders do to counter what the Chargers will probably do? All of that fun stuff. Love making these videos. So if you missed the first one, you don't have to watch it to watch this one. You can watch either one, but I recommend it. I think that, I like these kind of stuff, and it might give you a bigger picture of the whole game as opposed to just half of the game. Anyways, like I did with the last one, let's look at, so what you're looking at here is these are the defensive grades that the Raiders players had the first time these two teams played each other. So basically just how well each of these players did according to Pro Football Focus the first time these two teams played. One hilarious thing is that Hunter Renfrow currently is the second best defender. And also, an even funnier fact is I believe Hunter Renfrow has credit for being the best defensive player in football because according to PFF, if you remove snap counts, because if you remember, there was like not even a fake punt, but kind of a weird punt situation. He made a great play as the returner, so that was his one defensive snap. So kind of funny there. But anyways, back to the reality. So Max Crosby, Carl Nassib, right off the bat, you see some really good stuff with their edge rushers. Also Trayvon Moorhig and Casey Hayward Jr., also Nate Hobbs, not too far down, Yannick Ngakoue, not too far down. So these are the guys who came through and were really good the first time these two teams played each other. Meanwhile, at the bottom, a couple of interesting names here. So one, 21 there on the list, Damon Arnett. Okay, well, he's probably not going to play because he's not a Raider, so that probably won't come into play as much, and you probably will see a little bit of a difference there. That's actually a lot of how the Chargers got some of their yards was targeting Robinson, targeting Arnett, who I don't think will get as many, I don't think Robinson will get as many snaps this game, and I don't think that, Arnett's not going to get any. So that's interesting, and that's advantage Raiders, I think, when you go back and look at this. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, very interesting, number one is Jared Cook, which is surprising, but the tape backs it up, and we'll get more into that in a second. A couple other guys who did well were Corey Linsley and also Rashawn Slater at number 3. That's also very fascinating. Rashawn Slater, because, if the edge rushers did so good, why is Rashawn Slater, also doing so good? Also, 4 and 5, Eckler and Herbert. Again, the Eckler stats are actually incredible. Look, here are the numbers for both the quarterback play and for the running game, because it's really fascinating. You see that first, let's look at the rushing, and let's see Austin Eckler ends up with 7.8 yards per carry, 117 yards on only 15 carries, and had a touchdown as well. So that's good stuff from the Chargers rushing game. Justin Herbert, even though he graded very well according to Pro Football Focus, not the best statistical day. Now, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, that's pretty good, but only 222 yards on 38 attempts. So yards per attempt wise, that's not spectacular, but again, they're saying it's not really his fault, and actually he played pretty well. You look at what performed poorly the first time these two teams played, Storm Norton, which, okay, that makes sense, right? Left tackle had a very good day against these pass rushers. Well, that probably means the right tackle didn't do very good, and quite frankly, that's kind of been the story of the Charger season, is left tackle playing well, right tackle not so much. You also have, I think another thing worth noting, and we'll get into this, is Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Neither one of them did very well in this one. That's a very important aspect. So it wasn't the first or second option that performed well when the Chargers played the Raiders the first time. It was that third option. All right, let's get into the film. So how will the Chargers attack the Raiders? Well, probably some of what they did last time, which is really simple stuff. The Raiders are playing cover 3 zone. So what do? Well, there's several ways you can attack this. And by the way, this is what the Raiders like to do. They love this coverage because it helps stop the run. And also the idea is, well, you can get beat on the sidelines. As long as you have good corners, you're going to be all right. So instead, Herbert's just going to simply, again, find a little, gap in coverage, gain 5 yards or so. It's, not going to completely change the outcome of a game, but it can a little bit. And that's how you can find a way to get, move the ball down the field methodically, which is something you can do. However, you're probably not going to win too many games if you just move the ball down the field methodically. You're probably going to have to, at some point, be able to, get a chunk play. And they were able to do that as well with stuff like what you'll see next. So right here, this is the great, I think, example of how the Chargers can beat the Raiders and get some chunk plays, even now. It's going to be a cover 3 zone. And so what's worth noting about cover 3 zone is going to be the corners. So right there, you see that, listen, the Raiders have a plethora of good corners. You see that the 2 corners are going to take away the 2 receivers. So even if it is Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, I actually like the Raiders matchup in that one. Listen, I'm sure Keenan Allen will get something going. I'm sure Mike Williams will get something, right? They're good players, but I like that matchup for the Raiders. I do. However, in this play, with the 2 corners taking away the 2 receivers, what does that mean for the tight end? You have a tight end who can run a route like this, and basically either the linebacker or the safety has to cover him. So that's already why you get a mismatch, because you can get a tight end, on a linebacker or safety. But the other thing is you have to communicate. Watch how right when this play begins, you're going to notice that at this point, there's just no communication. They don't know their assignment on this play. And this is why, this is really the difference between a good zone coverage and a bad zone coverage. Although I should put another asterisk on this and say this is week 4, and there's a big difference between week 4 zone defenses and week 18 zone defenses. And in week 18 zone defenses, they just get a lot better. They know how to work with each other. This is why Seattle defenses, with Pete Carroll, always seemingly start off horrible, but then get better as the season progresses. They did it this year, they did it last year, that kind of stuff. However, this time, Herbert is able to make that play work. And listen, even if they are able to, be a little bit better defensively for the Raiders, you're still getting mismatches. You're still getting, Jared Cook on a linebacker. So it's good stuff, and it's stuff you want to see happen. I guess the argument is, if you're a Raiders fan, you're probably going to, talk yourself out of this being an issue by saying, we'll be better at covering it. And if you're a Chargers fan, you'll say, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't be great at covering it, and we'll still have mismatches. It goes both ways. Like this one's another one where what you're going to see is that on this play, again, kind of a similar idea, right? You see Jared Cook's running a route, and just someone has to cover him. It shouldn't be that difficult, really. However, as you see, once you get to this spot, Jared Cook is getting just past the defense right here. And so there is going to be an opening, and no one's picking Cook up. And this is just, if I'm the head coach of the Raiders, the first thing I'm doing before anything else is saying, we got to make sure we cover Jared Cook. Which sounds weird because the Chargers have so many great options, but no, Jared Cook is the guy you have to pay attention to. I know that Jared Cook hasn't looked great the second half of the season. That probably is advantage Raiders compared to the first time, but still, it's more of a scheme thing than it is a talent thing here. You got to make sure that you lock him up a little bit. Watch. Good throw from Herbert. Cook is able to make the grab, so good stuff by them as well, but really, it's just not good defense by the Raiders, and it's what you're hoping they will just be better at. Something like this is another interesting example where you're going to have Austin Eckler in the running game, and this is in the passing game, and this is what you want to do. You want to get the Raiders linebackers to have to cover. That's the idea. You want to stay away from their corners. Their corners are good. You don't want to deal with their corners. You want to be able to stay away from that and get the matchups you can get. This is man coverage. Raiders did play some man coverage the first time these two teams played each other. And look, Herbert is going to hit the halfback, not because necessarily, Austin Eckler is a good receiving halfback, but also just because, you're getting a mismatch there, and that's what you want to take advantage of. Find the safeties, find the linebackers, attack them. Don't worry about the Raiders' corners. Worry about the Raiders' linebackers and safeties. And I also want to talk about stuff like this, where one of the reasons the Chargers were able to actually run effectively was the Raiders did play a decent amount of cover too. So it's kind of the similar effect, right? We talk about the Chargers who kind of by design will let you run the ball on them. Well, the Raiders did that a little bit the first time these two teams played. And my point for the Chargers would be, if the Raiders are doing that, take what they're giving you. Run the football. If they're going to give you 7 yards on every run attempt, then run the ball for 7 yards every play until they eventually put a safety down, and then you can start running your passing offense. I think that's what you should do. Because look, everyone here is accounted for the Chargers, and unlike, if you watched my last video, the Raiders didn't always do a great job, even if they had everyone accounted for, just being able to complete all of these blocks. Well, the Chargers are going to do a much better job of that. Watch, everyone is going to be able to make their block, and not just that, but Austin Eckler even makes a move and jukes out a defender, nearly got another one, and was able to take that for a touchdown. So, again, especially if you can get Austin Eckler in space, that's even better, and if you're blocking well, this is going to be a tough day for the Raiders. So this is, I think, I think you want to run the ball a lot. I think that's a great way to have success, as long as the Raiders are playing cover 2, which to some degree they will. Now, they won't do it every play or anything like that, but still, it's something that I think that the Chargers, if they pick their spots right, should be able to run the ball effectively. Like, also, something like this is another just good example of the way that they're able to. Again, this time it's just like, hey, run the ball away from whoever the unblocked man is. And actually, on this play, what's happening is it's man coverage for the Raiders, because they like to play. They like to play. They did play some man coverage the first time these two teams played. So for the Raiders, I don't know why you do that necessarily. I don't get why this is the team that you mix it up on. I think that you actually, cover 3 kind of can attack the Chargers nicely. I like that. So they played some man. It didn't really kind of came back to bite them in the running game a little bit, because really watched a couple of Raiders who I don't have anyone blocking on the top left. Look at how they kind of just, go off to the side because they're playing man coverage, which allows Austin Eckler to, again, everyone made their blocks. He's able to easily pick up a good chunk play. So little things like that. The Chargers picked their spots very well, and when they ran the ball the first time, good play calling by them. I expect something similar, and so again, maybe for the Raiders, you just say, hey, you got a little lucky with some of these play calls too. You didn't know it was man coverage when you called a run. That worked out to your advantage. But still, I would also say that that's some credit to the Chargers. Whatever way you want to go, I think you could go either way. And this is the last thing I want to talk about, is something like this. So a lot of times when we saw the Chargers just, hey, let's send someone deep towards the sideline, it got covered. Raiders played that very well. I should have probably thrown some examples in there, but still, that did happen. You'll have to take my word for it. What's going to happen on this play, though, and this is something I want to see the Chargers do a lot. This is something the Chargers should do a lot, which is, listen, if they're playing zone coverage, try to get favorable matchups. That's sort of the entire premise of my offensive game plan for the Chargers. Well, one of the best ways you can do that is put someone like Keenan Allen in the slot, put another receiver out wide. Hey, now the corner is not covering Keenan Allen. And on a play like this, where you run play action and have Keenan Allen run over in the middle, it's actually going to be a linebacker covering Keenan Allen. So now it's not just a linebacker covering like Jared Cook, which is a slight advantage. It's a linebacker covering Keenan Allen, which is a huge advantage for the Chargers. Watch how right when this play begins, you see that there is going to be a play action here, and you see that Keenan Allen, there's not really a ton of separation. This is actually good defense by the Raiders. They did a good job of, the linebacker kind of getting back and doing what he can. But this is still like a situation that I like a lot. And if you get 5 of these situations, you'll probably get like 3 or 4 catches. This time for Herbert, it's, the throw isn't quite there. It actually was a pretty good throw. Allen might have been able to make the grab, whatever you want to blame on it. But still, do stuff like that. I think you probably win this game. If you can get a couple of those chunk plays, you can probably win this game, because right now a game plan of methodically move down the field is never one I like. I want you to find a way to get chunk plays. This is a great way you can do that. All right, so now for the predictions and everything. So first, the first game, the Chargers scored 28 points on 12 possessions, which is 2.33 points per drive. The Chargers on average score 2.69 points per drive, and the Raiders on average give up 2.37 points per drive. So where do I have them going here? I landed on 2.2 points per drive in this one. I'm projecting it to be an 11 possession game, which would make it 24 points. The reason for this is because I do think the Raiders will tighten up a little bit on defense, and I actually do kind of like the defensive matchup for the Raiders. I think that if they play a lot of cover 3 zone, which I like to do, I think that could give the Chargers some trouble. I think that the corners can, if not shut down Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, they should be all right in terms of being able to cover them. And I really think that they'll do a better job at taking away that third option, which they really struggled with the first time these two teams played. At least they should do a better job in that. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards them actually doing a little bit better than you might expect, because the fact that the Chargers do score 2.7 points per drive and the Raiders give up, 2.37 points per drive, and yet I have it only being 2.2 points per drive in this one. That feels about right to me, though. Again, the flip side is the Chargers could be able to get some of these chunk plays with like Keenan Allen, putting him in the slot and making that work. That could happen, but my argument for that is, hey, if you see that, just have safety help. Like, there's a way to counter that as well. It's not that difficult, and I do think that the Raiders have played better defense as the season has gone on. However, what's interesting is that I have the Chargers scoring 24 points. I also have the Raiders scoring 24 points. I don't do this intentionally. I don't pay attention to the other one when I'm making, each half of it. Basically, I make the Raiders video and I say, okay, that feels about 2.2 points per drive. And then I made this video and I said, okay, that feels about 2.2 points per drive. It just happened to be even. So if it's 24-24, there has to be a winner. So who do I have winning? Raiders or Chargers? My final prediction, give me the Raiders. 27-24 in overtime. That's what I'm going with here. I guess basically what it comes down to for me is, who do you trust more? Is it going to be, because both of these two teams, the way to beat them is with your tight ends. Who do you trust more, Jared Cook or Darren Waller? Give me Darren Waller. That's just, it's a little simple, but that's kind of what ended up being the tiebreaker for me. But I think this is a coin flip game. I think it could go either way. I wouldn't feel comfortable betting on it because I think this is a game that I could see going a myriad of different ways, but I think it's very fascinating and, fun stuff. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.